Chapter 9. Thorns of the Forgotten. Viola was preparing dinner, just a soup that she could cook while sitting next to the fire to save her energy. She was supposed to be resting, but that was against her nature, and Fenris was late. Her heart was aching. There was something wrong with that night. It was too silent, and the wind outside too cold. That meant a bad omen in the tribes. She was anxious for Fenris to go back home in a way she didn't feel in a very long time. Viola was longing for him. Probably is the pregnancy, making me extra sensitive, Viola told herself. Suddenly, Elira ran into the house, flustered. Her eyes were wide, and she had a look of fear on her face. Viola had asked her to go get Ido down the street where he lives with his mother to check on Fenris, because he was so late to come home. Elira, what happened? Viola said, extending her arms to her and hugging. Mommy, I saw him. He is here, Elira said, with tears in her eyes. Who, my love? Who is here? The guy who hurt you in the market. I just saw him outside, Elira said, and started crying. Viola felt her blood run cold, and energy returned to her body. She was a warrior, and there was no way she would allow anyone to hurt her family again. The bad premonition she had grew stronger, and she took her hunting bow, which hadn't been used against anyone since she left the tribe, and set it ready in case it was necessary. Darling, calm down. No one is going to hurt you, I promise. Now, tell me, where did you see him? Viola asked Elira, stroking her hair to calm her down. He was on a horse, and Ido was with him. Do you think he's in trouble? Should we tell his mom? Elira asked, drying her tears. Viola's anguish increased, and she had to calm down in order to think. Something was very wrong, and she needed to understand what it was. She began to suspect that the attack she suffered was not random. But what did Ido have to do with it? They barely knew each other. He only did favors for the ladies on the street for tips. She had never even met him before that. Was Ido really in danger? She needed Fenris at home, and his absence was starting to become alarming. Viola felt dizzy and had to sit. She didn't want to take her meds for the nerves because they took her reflexes away, and she needed to be alert for whatever was about to come. Honey, we are going to Sarian's house to look for Daddy, okay? Whatever we do it together. Now help me to put out the fire in the fireplace and get dressed properly to go out, Viola said. Isn't it dangerous for us to go out with the bandit outside? Elira asked apprehensively. It is dangerous for him to be on my sight, Viola whispered, getting her bow strap to attach the longbow and quiver with arrows to her back. It was hard for her to move with the belly, and the baby was agitated, probably feeling her tension. That was a terrible moment for him to be moving like that, so she spoke to him in her belly. My dear son, Mother needs you to be quiet now. Your big sister and I have to search for your father, and we need you to help us, okay? Mommy, do you want me to sing for him? Of course, honey, but sing in a low voice for him to calm down, Viola answered. And while she was getting herself ready, Elira was singing a lullaby for the baby. Soon enough, he calmed himself down and stopped moving. When they were already outside settling Tom into the cart, an acquaintance of hers approached on his horse. Viola, Fenris sent me to speak to you. Finally, why is he late? I was on my way to Sarian's house to see if he was fine, Viola shouted. Ma'am, are you okay? Aren't you in bed? Maiden said, disturbed. I should be resting, but I'm feeling better today, and I got up. But tell me, where is my husband? Viola asked. I think he fell into a trap. We may need help. Viola grabbed Elira's hand and pulled Maiden by the arm and went inside with them. Her heart was accelerated, and the dizziness threatened to return, but she took a deep breath and recovered. Please, Maiden, what is happening? The messenger explained everything, as Fenris told him, and told her he was expecting to find Viola in bed and the paid healer taking care of her. Could you please wait here with my daughter? I will be back in a minute, Viola said seriously. Elira knew Maiden from Sarian's house. He was a young orphan, very shy, that Lunel brought home one day, and Sarian welcomed him. Elira enjoyed speaking with Maiden the few times they saw each other, so she allowed him to get close to her and tell her a story to help her to calm down. They heard noises coming from the street and went to the window to look and see Viela coming towards them with her bow cocked and aiming at Ido's back, as his mother was following them and shouting, asking for anyone's help. "Stop yelling, cursed woman! He already told me that you kept his dirty money." "What is happening? Viela, stop!" a neighbor claimed to her. She took Ido to the middle of the street and shouted, "Now speak, you bastard! Tell them what you did! Speak loudly so there are witnesses when the guard arrives." Viela was furious and her patience was running low. "Say it, now! My mother took money from a man for me to go to Fenris and lie that Viela was ill and needed money to pay the healer." Ido yelled, crying in fear. "What else, Ido? What else?" Viela shouted, "The man that paid my mother was the same that attacked Viela in the market. My mother knew it, but I didn't. I didn't know until today. I am sorry. I never meant to hurt you or Fenris. If I knew I wouldn't do it, I swear. I was just obeying my mother," Ido said and burst into tears. All the neighbors were watching in shock, and Viela could see that one of them went after the guards as soon as Ido finished speaking. "Now, you bring the money you receive in exchange of my husband's life and show everyone. Do it, or I will pierce your son's neck with my arrow," Viela shouted to Ido's mother. The woman ran inside and brought the large, heavy bag Tarex gave to Ido earlier. She dropped at Viela's feet and stepped back with her head low. "Is that all?" Viela asked, and Ido nodded his head. "Perfect. Open the bag and throw all the coins towards the sky. Make it rain. Make that damn gold rain," she whispered at Ido's ears. Ido obeyed her, and opening the bag, he spread the coins at once, as far as he could, causing a commotion that rushed people towards the money, making them push each other to try to get more. While everyone was distracted by the gold, Viela aimed at Ido's mother and shot her arrow, which entered her forehead and went through her head, coming out in the back of her neck. Viela pushed Ido to the crowd and returned home. She needed water and had to sit for a while. That was too much emotion and physical effort for a pregnant person about to give birth, but it had to be done. "Maydeen, I will need your help," Vala said when she came to her senses. "Anything I can do for you," he answered. "I need you to go to the tribe of Jurnor and introduce yourself as the messenger of Viela, the daughter of Valdric, leader of the Blood Warden, and granddaughter of Korvac, the elder light of Jurnor. Tell them you will only accept to speak with Korvac in person, and when you reach him, tell him everything we know. Tell them I am coming for Tarex for revenge and rescuing my husband, and I need support for me and my child." "Will they believe me?" Maiden asked. "Yes, they will. Elira, please take the wooden box I have under my bed, the one I never let you open," Viela asked. Elira ran to her room and went back with a medium box, slightly heavy for her, dyed in blue and some inscriptions in the laterals and the lid. Viela unlocked it easily and opened the box, showing the content. It was a gold dagger encrusted with rubies, with her name burned into the blade, a white gold necklace in the design of a snake, and its head and tail coiled around the clasp, and lastly, a red rose, bright and fresh, as if it had just been picked. "You will show the dagger to any Jurnor you speak. The dagger is a legacy of my family, and only one of us can have. It's your door key. Don't talk, don't argue, don't answer them. They are masters in deceiving. Only repeat, I came in name of Viela to speak with Korvac, and Korvac only, understood?" Viela asked. "Yes, ma'am, I understand," Maiden answered. "Now, pay attention. They won't believe you, especially because there is a reward on me. But my grandfather will be outraged at the idea that I had been robbed, so he will receive you. The first thing you will do once you arrive is to show the necklace and the rose and say, the rose was given to her by Viela's father in her 15-year-old birthday and never faded, as he promised her. And the necklace was the last gift her grandfather gave Viela, so she would always remember where she came from. And she indeed never forgot. Now may I speak her message? Once you finish telling them everything and answering their questions, you will say, 'My lady awaits a response from me.'" Viela made him repeat the message to be sure he was doing it right, and he got it the first time. "Well done, maiden. You can take your horse with you and tell them it belongs to me, or it will be stolen." Tell them I am waiting for your answer and they will let you go. You can leave the items behind. So you come here and tell me what they have told you. If I am not here, it's because I still haven't finished with Tarex, and you wait with Elira until I am back. Do you understand? Yes, Viola? I will do as you ask me, Maiden said, and Viola went out with him. Baden finished setting Tom Tom in the cart for Viola so she could use it. Maiden explained the directions for Tarek's house so Viola could find him easy, and then he left. Mommy, where are we going now? Elira asked. Not us, my love. You will have to wait for Mommy at home. Can you do this? Can you be brave enough to stay alone home at night for a little bit? Viola asked. Yes! I am brave like you and Daddy, I can do it. Elira shouted. Perfect, my dear. Now go inside and lock it all up until me or Maiden are back. I am going to find your father and bring him home, she said. Viola didn't know if she could rescue her beloved or even if he was alive. But from one thing she was sure, Tarex wasn't going to survive another day more than her husband would. The first place she decided to go was Sarian's house. She knew Fenris wasn't going to be there, but Lunel needed to know what was happening if Fenris went back there or if Tarex tried something else. The path was long with the wood cart, so she was doing her best to get there fast. The cart's balance on the rocks bothered the baby in her belly, who started to get agitated, and she felt a little bit colic. Once she was getting close to his house, she could see a column of smoke rising into the sky and an intense light illuminating the streets. Many people were heading in the same direction as her, and she had an unbelievably bad intuition about it. In the entrance of his street, Vela's suspicions were confirmed as she could see Sarian's house in flames. Tarex is striking them all. But why? What does that damn worm want? At least I know that I cannot expect cordiality from him, Vela thought. She had a strategy that she was hoping to not have to use due to her health conditions, but it would be necessary. Viola then moved towards Tarek's house. She left Tom Tom at a safe distance and moved silently in the dark. Everything was dark, and she wasn't sure if Tarex would be there, as she couldn't see any carriages in his land. As there were just a few men watching the house, including the one that attacked her a couple of days ago, she would bet he was out. Viola didn't want to manipulate Poison being pregnant because it was too risky for the baby, but she was about to give birth, so her boy was already formed. She decided to take the risk. The poison collection she had was taken from the Jur-Nor when she ran away, and most of it got stronger as time went on, and she prepared her nails, the arrows, and her jewelry. The oldest trick that her mother told her when you are facing a thief, and she concentrated to do something she hadn't done in ages. She called Nydia to join her. Nydia was the Wraithkin Viola was bound to when she was still a blood warden of the Jur-Nor. For a while, Viola just heard silence. She felt insecure at first, and the lack of results led her into even a certain despair. And when Viola understood that she would have no help, she cursed Nydia, finally hearing a whisper in her mind. Look who's calling me. Why would I help you after you abandoned me? Because I am going to kill people and you love manslaughter, Viola answered. Not enough, she heard back in her mind. No? A vengeance murder with poison isn't fun enough for you? Viola asked. She felt Nydia opening a wide smile inside her mind and waiting. Nydia was going to work when she had to, and that was all Viola needed from her. Viola had to wait for almost the whole night. She was concerned about Elira, but it was highly likely that Maiden would be back soon. She silently hoped that his mission was successful, and hopefully her tribe would be looking for Fenris, maybe negotiating to have him back. The thought of him not being alive anymore constantly crossed her mind, and she was pushing it back. She didn't need vulnerability now, so the best Viola could do was to turn it into rage and direct it to her vengeance. At dawn, Terex's carriage arrived. He seemed incredibly happy, laughing and chatting with his men as he came out of it, and Viola called Nydia. It's time. She mentally told her, and Nydia immediately responded, camouflaging her. That technique only worked in the dark, so she had to use the shadows of the nearest buildings to make it work. Gladly, the sun was still starting to glow, and the elongated shadows gave her more territory to work. It wasn't better than the night itself, but it was enough. Viola prepared the bow and Nydia whispered, projecting a shadow snake from the tip of Viola's fingers that got tangled up in the arrow. With the sound of a low whistle, Viola shot. The arrow was invisible until the last inch it took to cross Tarek's shoulder blade, making him scream. The guards surrounded him in a circle and started looking for her around. Bad shot. You used to be better. Viola hears in her mind. She smiled and answered, "Let's make it last." Viola then slowly changed her position to not make any noise and walked between the shadows of two near houses to find a better sight for her new shot. She readied 3 arrows at once and aimed at his belly. It was a big enough target. Once more, Nydia hid the arrows in the shadows, and this time she added her own spice to them. Viola shot, hitting Tarek's in the pelvis, navel region, and left arm. "You miserable, show yourself! Who do you think you are? Do you know what I do with my enemies? Do you? Look at the fire in Uptown and ask the ashes what I do with people that betray me!" Tarek's was yelling at the dark, where Viola was standing. People were coming out of their houses and from near streets, trying to find out what was happening. She slowly started moving forward in the limits of the house, and she heard Nydia saying, "Careful! The sun can move and get you off guard." Viola gave 2 steps back, and Tarek's men start walking around, coming towards her. One of them passed so close to her that she could smell the stench of alcohol and sweat coming from him. Tarek's was now crying, still yelling while he was fading with the effect of Nydia's enchantment. "It's beginning!" Nydia gladly shouted, excited inside Viola's mind. Tarek's began twitching and shaking his entire body, followed by a pasty secretion coming out of his nose and mouth as a result of the poison, and he became delirious. He screamed at the shadows to leave him alone, to stop touching him. He yelled for help, called his men who, when they approached him, were attacked by his nails and teeth. Then he fell, struggling desperately, shouting, "Get those animals off me! Get them off! Get them off!" "Which animals, boss? There is nothing!" his man shouted. "Snakes! There are snakes everywhere! They're trying to get into my mouth!" "Help!" Tarek shouted as he drowned in his own saliva. Viola was satisfied. No more arrows were required. "You have to move now. I sense danger," Nydia spoke seriously. Viola retrieved as much as she could, following the shadows until they couldn't see her anymore, so she walked as fast as she could back to Tom Tom, and she felt an intense pain that made her stop. It was the contractions. Your dawn was coming. "Your baby has the worst timing I have ever seen," Nydia said in her mind. "Are you still here?" "Why? The killing is over," Viola asked. "True," she answered. Viola recovered from the pain and watched shocked a whole flock of vultures approaching. "Those are Bloodwarden. You must hide," Nydia shouted in her mind. "Why, Nydia? Do it!" Viola moved to the woodcart and she sat down to rest for a minute. She covered her face with her hood and prepared to turn back home, but the crowd of people on the street was so large that it was difficult to get through. She covered the quiver with her cloak and lowered her head, waiting for space to run if she could. Then she felt another contraction and felt dizzy, needing to hold on to the bench to keep from falling. "Not now, son. Not now, my love," she whispered. The vultures landed in all the houses around, scaring the children and making the adults cringe. It was indeed a horde of Kuraash bloodwardens, with at least 30 of them scattered around the block. "Who is Tarek's?" one of them shouted. Viola could notice that someone pointed at the man still screaming desperately as the vultures moved close to him. "They can recognize the work of a Jir-Nur bloodwarden Viola. You must leave now," Nydia yelled at her mind. Viola got out of the cart, feeling another contraction. She pulled Tom Tom to the alley to pick him up later and started walking as fast as she could in the opposite direction of Tarek's house. She only made it half a block before the vultures started flying again and swooping through the crowd, probably looking for her. The pain came intense again and she fell over her knees. Yurden chose the worst moment to decide to be born. Viola regretted not leaving while she could, as Tom Tom would take her home faster. Someone got close to her and offered her help to get up. Vaela accepted and offered her arm for the unknown woman to pull her up standing, and she had to lean on the post to avoid falling, with another intense contraction beginning. "Vaela, hear me!" Nydia shouted. "Hey, you! Look at me!" A vulture yelled at the woman helping her. "I didn't do anything! I am just helping this poor pregnant woman!" Vaela kept head down, holding her belly and cowering in pain, when the vulture approached them, pulling both up and looking at her face. Vaela's pupils were vertical, as they used to be when Nydia was with her. "I found it! The Jernor is here!" And in a matter of seconds, another 5 vultures were there with her. She couldn't defeat them. The vulture pulled her cape and uncovered her bow, confirming their suspects. "That's the one. Do we finish her?" the first one asked. "Only if you want to lose your head, vulture," Vaela said calmly. "What exactly do you think you can do?" he asked, laughing and holding her tightly. "Not me. My father Valdric, or my grandfather Korvac. You choose," Vaela answered. That's what she could do. Suddenly she felt another contraction and yelled, pressing her belly. "Were you in labor?" the vulture asked. "She is probably lying. Just kill her," another vulture shouted. "No, don't touch her!" the largest vulture yelled. He seemed to be the leader, and Vaela stared at him with all the dignity she could keep due to the circumstances. "What is the chance that we receive a communication from the Jernor about your relative, and you just show up in our hands as a gift?" he whispered at her. Vaela breathed a sigh of relief. That meant that Maiden fulfilled his role. But she was now in trouble too. Elira, she silently wished that Maiden would be in her house soon enough, and that she could finally find Fenris. "I am taking her myself." About the scammer Terex let that worm to agonize to death. "Our guest of honor here did a great job," he yelled, commanding the vultures. And grabbing Vaela's arms with his claws, the vulture opened his wings and flew away, carrying her back to the elder tree after all those years apart.